So the dynamic programming approach that we used earlier for pairwise sequence alignment that can be extended for multiple sequences. We assume we are having n sequences and their length is k in this example. And basically it's generalization of pairwise alignments where actually our n was equal to 2, where we have 2 sequences to more than 2, and normally when we add more sequences we add more dimensions into our matrix. Here the dynamic programming array is actually then n-dimensional, and it becomes a hyperlattice. We have lengths, they are k plus 1, so that is one additional row or column, or if you keep on adding more dimensions, so you will have one more cell for every sequence. We do those matrix fillings. So we start with we come up with a scoring function, and then that scores this, we keep track of that, all those scores in a function, so that represents the score of optimal alignments between different sequences. So let's elaborate this with 3 sequences. We have sequence x, y and z, and we define c, I, j, k as the score of optimum alignment between all these ones. So c keep tracks of the score coming from each position. We call them as columns. So for each column, what is the score and what are the possible ways to move or get it up to that point. So the alignments can end in any of these 7 ways. So we can have, for example, in the top we have sequence x and then y and then we have this w. So we can have situation like this where we can have a symbol on x, I, and the gaps down below. So that can be one situation. We can have gaps on 1 and 3, symbol in between. We can have this situation, this, and total we have 7 possible ways. So there are 7 possible ways where you can have symbols on at least one of them, or at most all 3 of these sequences. There is recurrence relationship. So Cijk is maximum among all possibilities. So what is the score at that column? We derive that score from all those different 7 moves or options. So what is that maximum score fills into this function. So we can get into this function like Cijk like this. So here is a cube. So we might come up in that cube. So every dimension is actually represented by one of them. One face or side is I, the other one is j, the other one is k. So actually we are in a 3-dimensional space. We can come to Cijk from this bottom rightmost corner. So in that case we are actually coming from ci minus 1. J stays the same as we are in the same plane, and k minus 1. Either we can come here in a situation like this, or it can be something like this. So we need to, in our algorithm, we need to make functions for all of them, and we need to keep track of all of these moves. Bit complicated? Yes, of course. Each alignment in the path is a path through the dynamic programming matrix. Looks like this. So for example, we start from here. We have 3 sequences. They are the 3 dimensions of this matrix. So we move here, and this is the we can say the most probable path, and we come up with the alignment. It comes like this. But for 3 sequences, guys, the length of the sequences is n. The time is actually proportional to n cube raised to power 3. If we have k sequences, their length is n. Dynamic programming approach will take 2k minus 1 into nk operations. So for example, for 3 sequences of length 100, we need 7 million calculations. So it's pretty cumbersome, pretty complicated, so impractical for larger sequences, and for sequence numbers even more than 3. So this approach computes an optimal alignment, but not typically used or impractical because of high running time.